Hi everyone, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to do a demonstration on how to use a background worker on XAF. This is one of the requested example, one of the most requested example actually, because it uses a progress bar and a background worker, which is kind of simple code, but it takes a lot of trial and error to make it right. So Javier, let me show you what we have here. Like this is like really nice. First, we have a directory class. The idea of the project is to emulate reading files from a directory. So we have a directory class. Then we have a directory file, which is a class which only have one property, like file data. So it creates a master detail relationship. And then we have an interface, because I use this interface to be able to report progress. In this case, we have how much progress we have and what is the max amount of progress that we can have. Because as you know, each directory might have different amount of files, right? So let's close all of this and let me show you the property editor first before we go to the background worker. And that's a kind of really simple property editor. It's for integer type, and the idea is like this. We create a progress bar that will be the control inside of the property editor. And in this case, I'm setting the maximum to 100, but we don't know if we're going to have 100 files on the directory. I just set it because I wanted to set a value, an initial value. But the trick here is that on the current object change, what we do is we wire the onChange event of the current object, and then in the onChange event, every time that the current object changes, we check if the max value has changed. So in that case, if there is 1,000 files on the directory, or if there is like 5 files on the directory, the progress bar will always be calculated right, because we know how's the maximum. So this is like basically a boilerplate code. I just copy this code from the developer express side, and I replace. I think that they have a num edit control there, and I changed it for a progress bar. So it was kind of really easy to do. And now where the magic happens in this agnostic controller. So here we have just one simple action. So it's like not much code in general. In this case, I'm using private methods, which is something that I didn't like a few months ago, but now I like them a lot because you have all the definitions on the same place. So basically here is I create a background worker. I'm going to make this bigger. A background worker, and then I tell it that it can report progress and that it supports cancellation. And then I wire the events that I need to wire, which are the do work, progress change, and run worker complete. So here I have those methods. So first, let's check well, let's continue here before we check each part of each method. In this case, I'm using Bogus. Javier, you used this in another video before to generate data. So I'm generating fake files with the name of a person. So I did this for one reason. When you use a background worker, you're moving data from threads, from the main thread, which is the UI thread, to a background thread or to many background threads. So I wanted, I could have done this in a more simple way, but I wanted to show how you move data from one thread to the other. So in this case, we are moving the faker instance, which is the Bogus main object, to the background thread. So in here, what I'm using also, I was meeting with one of the customers yesterday, and we were using tuples, something that I also didn't like before. But he used them when we were like coding together, and then I told him, oh, that's really nice because usually you make a POCO class to move data from one place to the other, and it's really common in XAF to do that. So this is the declaration of a tuple, which is like really easy. You just declare a variable, put the values that you want between parentheses, and then you have an anonymous object. So it's really simple syntax, which I kind of really like. So I decided, okay, I will use tuple from now on. And then you do something like background worker, run worker async. And then you pass the arguments that you want to pass to the other thread. In this case, the tuple. In the tuple, we're passing the faker, which is the class that will generate the fake data for the files, and how many files we want to generate in that directory. So with that being said, we can check the do work event. So in the do work event, the first thing that I do is I get the sender, which is the background worker actually, and I cast it. Because later I will need to check if, usually the type of work that you do in a background worker is a loop. So you always need to check if someone requests cancellation for that loop. Because the thing about background threads is that maybe you close the window or the controller or any part of the UI that started the background thread, the background thread is still running. So it cannot synchronize again with the main thread. So it's always good to check, like if that's canceled, you need to stop what you're doing and go back to the main thread. So that's why I cast the sender here as a background worker. Then in the argument, I cast the argument that we have to a tuple again, which is the instance of a faker and an integer. So with the integer, I know how many files I need to generate. And as you can see here, I'm always checking, is this canceled? Is this canceled in each part of the loop? So if it's canceled, I can break the loop and go out of this event. Because otherwise it will continue running, even if you close the application, the thread will be there like alone running on the background. And in the end, you will have an exception. So then here is another part of the magic. Here I generate another tuple, which is what I want to communicate back to the main thread. Why? In here I can create the record for the files. I mean, I can do object space, create new object, and so on and so forth. But as soon as I start doing that, I will have a cross-thread operation problem. So it means that you cannot use an object space in two different threads. That's no, it's impossible. You either in one or the other. So since the main object is in the main thread, we need to send this information back to the main thread. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a tuple with two properties. One is a string, which is the file name, which is this property here, this value here. And then I'm generating, Bogus can generate fake paragraphs. So I'm telling generate a fake paragraph of 50 words. And I'm getting the bytes out of that. So I can send a byte array. I can send also a memory string. Any of those objects is good in general. So this is the information that we are pumping to the main thread. So then I tell the worker, okay, worker, report progress. How much progress we have? The index of E that we have at the moment. If we're going to generate 1,000 or 100 records, if the E is 1, the progress is 1 actually. So we move the progress bar in 1. And this is the information that we will use, this tuple, to create the record itself inside of XAF, because we need to go back to the main thread to do that. So let's go back to the report progress change. Every time that I do report progress, this event is triggered. So in here, we're back to the main thread. Again, I cast the sender to a worker to check if a cancellation has been requested. And if it is, I just return to exit the method. And if not, I'm going to get the arguments that I'm passing and cast it as a tuple. And here I can use the object space and everything like in a normal XAF application, because I'm back to the main thread. And as you can see here, I create the file, then I create the file data, then I load the information, set the file name and the memory stream, and then I change the progress bar I do plus plus to do the next step in general, because if we check the directory object, in here I'm using the proper creator that I created as a progress bar. So this is, instead of showing a text box for numbers, is showing a progress bar actually. And then going back to here, like, okay, after this method finish, then I'm going back to the background thread actually. And when the background thread actually finish, it goes back to the main thread again. And of course, I always check if there is a cancellation pending. And if not, I continue and I just commit the changes. So it might look confusing, but this is a really like a small pieces of the code, and it demonstrates going back and forward from the background thread to the main thread. So let's run this to see how it works. It's like, it works as a beauty, and I even test the cases where you close the window. Since we're handling the isCancel event, the isCancel property, sorry, it gracefully finished the background worker. So let me create a new one here. And we're going to create 100 records. So if I do read files, see, it's creating the records, and I can move the window, everything's working. I can hit save if I want. So I don't lose the control because the files are being created in the background thread. And I mean, the information for the file, and then I pump it up to the main thread and I create the record in XAF. So here I can hit save anytime that I want, and I can even close this. And it will do it gracefully. It finished the background thread and close the window. And if I want to start it back, I just do this again and do the read file. So in this example, we mixed a few things. How to report progress from a background thread, and how to interact with the object space and the data in background threads and for front threads. So basically that's it from this video. I was writing the README when Javier wrote me. So this is public, so I will put the URL of this example on the description of the video. So that's everything for this video, Javier. I hope that I didn't make it too complex, but I think it's like really nice to have something that we can use with threading in general.
No, I think the whole concept is great. I don't think that it was too complex at all. Again, like couple things maybe for people starting about tuples and the private events inside the simple action execute. But besides that, everything was pretty clear. I think that the thing that I like the most is that only the progress bar control is Windows related. Everything else is agnostic. So that's a great thing. And besides that, it just works. We have a lot of clients that they need to do some reporting on the background. They need to do some processing on the background. So having them to be able to do that and being able to continue to use the application is a great tool to have. And again, I love to do this video because I always learn. And not only that, like we use our time wisely.
And
in the same time that you are presenting it to me, we create the video and hope it helps someone. So
and to be honest, it's like what everyone wants: responsiveness from the application. You don't want an application that you hit a simple action and it goes to that white screen that is not responding. So in here you can handle that gracefully. So I think that's something that can help everyone in the community. So, well, I guess that's it for this video, Javier. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, see you in the next one.